It is Monday, May 12th, 2025, and from the home studio in Middletown, Delaware, I'm Marshall Manlove. This is a special edition of American Sports Reports and Delaware Sports, a special interview edition, and shortly we will have representatives from the Wilmington University women's lacrosse team here in Delaware join me on the show. But first, this is brought to you. Oops, they showed up just a little early there. There we go. We're going to put it over here. This is brought to you by me, Marshall Manlove, stage hypnotist. If you would like a funny, fascinating, and memorable experience for a party or an event that you're having, please consider my stage hypnosis show, details about which you can find at marshallmanlove.com. You can see my calendar there if I'm coming to an area near you. If you want to find out how to book a show, it's right in there too in the contact section. Maybe you're having a fundraiser, corporate event, party of some sort. I'm the guy you need to call. And now, hopefully when I press this next button, my guests will appear. I know they should because I've already hit it once and briefly saw their faces. But now, here we go. Joining us from the Wilmington University lacrosse team here in Delaware. On the left side of the screen, head coach Kevin Day. Mr. Day, thank you very much for joining us here. Let me just test your microphone. Yeah, there you go. Test your microphone there. Go ahead. Just talk there again, Coach.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And one of your star players in the center of the screen now. Introduce yourself there, young lady.
Hi, I'm Ella Royer. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And everyone should know right off the bat that Ella is very nervous. Don't want to put any pressure, any added anxiety on you or anything like that, but just so everybody knows. So, hey, look, not everybody does this all the time. You know, I've been doing this for 30 years. Coach, you've probably been interviewed on camera before many times.
Once or twice.
Right? And Ella, what kind of we'll talk about the kind of season that you had, but because you had this great season, how many opportunities have been presented to you to have some type of on-air interview?
I think this is the only on-air interview, but my newspapers and stuff back home sometimes ask me some questions and I send in my answers. Never on air, never live.
Okay. Oh, well. I'm glad that we're your first then. So you're a junior at Wilmington University, but your hometown is nowhere near here. Where are you from, Ella?
I'm from Sherwood Park, Alberta, up in Canada. A lot of people have no idea where it is. It's above Montana.
Yeah, well, I think there's been a lot of talk about Alberta recently. I won't get into all that because it's political and all that kind of stuff right now. But okay, so Coach, you've been the head coach there at Wilmington for how many years now?
This was my 8th season.
And just so everybody knows, with the exception of the COVID year, you've had a winning record every year and taken the team
every year except for my very first year. Every year except for my 2018 season. After that, we've had a winning record every year. That's correct.
Oh, did I read my numbers wrong over there?
We're 7-10 in 2018.
Oh, 7-10, yeah. Okay.
I remember vividly.
Yeah, right. But still, all right. So beyond the COVID year, you've reached the CACC tournament every year.
Yes.
And in your second year, Coach of the Year in the CACC. So how did you two get connected? How did you meet Ella and bring her here all the way down to Delaware?
That is a great story of circumstance and chance and karma. Ella, would you like to tell the story? Ella actually found me first.
Ah.
I didn't find her, and I'd love to have her tell that story of how she came across me.
Please.
And then I'll fill in the blanks after that.
Okay.
I don't even know what the recruiting page thing was, but whatever.
Did you start with a Google search?
Yeah, I just searched up inexpensive schools with Division II lacrosse, and I just was looking through. I was late to recruiting. I had no idea where I wanted to go. And then, what was the recruiting thing, Kev?
Yeah,
The
she found the recruit the link on our website where you fill out the recruit form, and it sends me an email notification.
yeah,
And Ella was a senior in high school at the time. That class was done. I had already signed that class, and they were ready to come in a few
in like
months.
November.
Yeah, and I get this random email that I had a form submission on the from the recruit page, and I open it up, and here's this random kid from Alberta, Canada. I'm like, what? Who is this, and how and why? And I honestly Googled her first, and everything I came up with was box lacrosse. And this girl's a stud back home playing box lacrosse, which has some crazy influence in the field world. And back there, I don't know if you're super familiar, Marshall, with box lacrosse, but there's girls leagues back there. They play the same rules as the boys, where they're full pads and they're full contact, and they end up doing crazy stuff with their sticks and incredible stick skills that translate well into field. And so I shot her an email back, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of done this class, but let's talk. We scheduled a Zoom call. I vividly remember sitting there talking with you and your mom, like, why are you just not emailing me? And she said, she was late to the game. I think I did a pretty good job in sales right there that night. I just got lucky, and Ella, maybe a month later, I had a prospect day at school, and she was able to secure travel plans, and her and her mom came down to visit, and she stayed for my prospect day, and I took them out to dinner afterwards, and she went back home and thought about it for, I don't know, Ella, maybe a week or so, and forgot about, I love to tell this part, forgot about the time zone difference, and called me basically in the middle of the night.
I asked him if I woke him up, and he said no.
Of course I'm going to say that. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was like 11:30 or something like that, and I was a little groggy because I'd fallen asleep on the couch, and I remember saying that's really cool, and I hung up and I went, I feel like a big jerk because I should be super excited about this kid because she wowed me when she got there. Her stick skills were just incredible. I can remember looking at my assistant coach at the time, and every time Ella touched the ball, we were like, holy crap. And then I ended up texting her about 10 minutes later when it really sunk in what she had just told me. I was like, holy crap. I am so happy, and that's kind of the beginning of this whirlwind we've been going through. She came in as a freshman and killed it that first year.
Yeah, 69 goals as a freshman. How did that rank in the conference as a freshman at the time? Do you remember?
I do not.
Okay.
I remember I nominated her for rookie of the year, and she did get edged out by somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but I remember I was mad. I'm like, Ella should have been rookie of the year.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive year. 92 points overall.
Yes.
And then improved her sophomore year, 86 goals, 108 points altogether. And then now she's starting to earn honors at that point. And what were they, Coach?
Several times throughout the season, she was our conference player of the week. Within the school, we have Wildcat of the Week awards where she won that multiple times. And ended up, that was her sophomore year. She was our conference player of the year at the end of the year that year, which I didn't know that a sophomore has ever won player of the year in our conference, to be quite honest with you. I never looked that up, but I would find it hard to believe if they were. So we kind of knew, we kind of saw just that tremendous increase in her stick skills and her abilities from her freshman to sophomore year. We knew she was on a path to greatness. I mean, she was already good to start with, but just the pace that she got better was insane. And I can't wait to see what she does next year.
Well, your instincts were right because she improved again the following year to this extent: 122 goals and 26 assists, set a Division II women's record in lacrosse for goals scored in a season, CACC Player of the Year once again. And that's in 19 games. So that's like, I don't know, was that like 20 goals a game or something like that? I don't know. My math's not good off the top of my head.
I would like to add a caveat to that, Marshall, if you don't mind me imposing this. 90% of the season, she was in a tight face guard, with most teams think that they can kind of take her out of it and guard her very tightly and try to keep her from getting the ball. And she scored, I would say, probably, what do you think, Ella, probably 80% of those goals in a face guard, where she's just so fast and so sneaky she could get away from we got the ball and she scored anyway. She had games where she had 10 goals in a tight face guard. She's just almost unstoppable.
Yeah, including a 10-goal game in the first round of the tournament this year where she broke the record, as a matter of fact, against Bridgeport.
In a tight face guard the whole game.
So when you say, I'm not a real big lacrosse guy, but you say a tight face guard, that's like a shadow basically, right?
Yes, exactly. What teams will typically do is put what I would assume is their best defender, because obviously you want your best defender on our best offensive player. and they will just mark her so tightly that she just can't even get freed up to get the ball. They don't slide. They don't play team D. Their job is to make sure she doesn't see the ball and isn't a threat on offense at all. But obviously, she's very very hard to stop.
So Ella, coach said you played box lacrosse. So what's the difference between what you're playing now and what box lacrosse was when you're playing in high school?
It's like a completely different game. Box lacrosse is inside, men's sticks, 5v5, on the floor, and just the way the games run is very different. It's a lot tighter space, full contact, yeah, and way bigger goalies and way smaller nets.
Way
Very
bigger,
true.
bigger
Yeah.
goals.
But what are the size of those goals? They're like 4x4 or something, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And I'm going to impose this as well, Marshall, because Ella won't brag about herself. She has some serious accolades for playing box lacrosse. Ella, talk about some of your gold medals and stuff you won with Team Alberta, please.
Uh, we won nationals 2 years in a row, and I got the tournament all-star team my first year, and then I got tournament MVP last year, and I'm going back this year.
Yeah.
And also played in nationals for Team Canada, not just the
Oh yeah,
provincial team. She made Team Canada this year and played against the U.S. in the finals.
yeah, yeah. I had an opportunity to play against like a lot of the best players from everywhere. There was girls who were in the like women's lacrosse league
The
who were
professional
all,
league. Yeah.
yeah, the professional league, who were on Team USA and Team Canada. So it was really, it's good.
Awesome. Now, describe the interest level in lacrosse between Canada and the United States.
Um, I think the interest level is the same. Just in Canada, it's all about box lacrosse. Everything's box lacrosse. Everyone plays it. And then here, like field lacrosse is
Is that basically
a lot.
because it's just cold up there all the time?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I
as a matter of fact, Marshall, the U.S. team, we never had a box lacrosse team before, so they put the box lacrosse team together with the best field players in our country, and then taught them box lacrosse to go compete. So we don't have like a feeder program or anything like that down there. There are
Mm.
starting to be some leagues across the country, but it's a rarity. Yeah, field lacrosse is much more popular here.
yeah.
That's interesting. I'm just kind of curious as to why lacrosse isn't bigger than it is here in the
You
United
know,
States.
I often wondered that. I've been playing since or well, I should say I played. I don't anymore. I played for about 38 years. I played from 7 years old to I was about 44.
Oh, wow.
Even when I was a kid at 7 years old, everybody's like, it's the fastest growing sport. You know, it's going to take over the country. And in my 40 years on the field, it never really did. It has grown exponentially. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's never taken off the way I thought it would. It's been described as the fastest game on 2 feet and everything else, and it's a really exciting game compared to some of the other sports that aren't really set up for spectators, in my opinion, anyway. And I was always surprised it never really did catch on.
Yeah, I mean, it's high scoring, it's fast, it has contact,
Absolutely, there's contact.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing I can figure is that as many games as I watch, sometimes it's hard to follow the ball, okay, because it doesn't move so fast. I wonder if
Sure.
that's kind of part of it. I
Very,
don't know. That's the only thing
very
I can think
possibly.
of because it's similar to hockey in that sense. But it
Hmm.
has more scoring. So I
Sure.
don't really get it. But I mean, there is a professional league, and there's certainly enough teams playing it and all. So
Hmm.
Ella, how long have you been playing lacrosse?
Box lacrosse I started playing probably when I was like 3,
Mm.
and field lacrosse I didn't pick up really until grade 7.
You're a late bloomer there, huh?
Yeah.
Field
Well,
lacrosse.
for field lacrosse.
Right. Yeah, I see the real successful people in this sport just grabbing sticks at real young ages.
Yes.
I tell this story about the Cape Henlopen programs down in Lewis, Delaware,
Sure.
where a bunch of
Hmm.
years ago I was covering some event and I saw this little parade of kids. There's a line right with these little sticks. And I said, that's how you build a program. And then
Absolutely.
sure enough, both the girls and boys teams became dynasties down there.
You're
That's how you
exactly
do it.
right. Yeah, the most successful programs are the ones with kids that I should say the most because there's anomalies to every rule, of course.
Sure.
But the most successful programs, in my opinion, are the ones that are full of kids have been playing basically their whole lives. Of course, not focusing solely on lacrosse. We always, push for multi-sport athletes and stuff to balance them out. But yeah, they're the kids that pick the sticks up pretty much at birth.
Now, Ella, you said box lacrosse has more contact in it, right?
Yeah, it's like pretty much full contact. There's very few things that you can't do.
Oh, I see. That's what I like. I like
Yeah,
I like the contact, and it's good
I
that
would say
the
box
it's
is
good
like the best sport to watch.
even at like the high school level up there for you. The contact
Oh, yeah,
box lacrosse for
yeah.
girls.
I think it's like for guys and girls it's the same, but I think in like the really young ages, there's different rules for hitting. But
Sure.
as soon as you're like, I think 10, 11, it's full contact.
Oh wow. So, how much contact is allowed at the college level at in field lacrosse?
That's a slippery slope. It, girls lacrosse, women's lacrosse is supposed to be a non-contact sport, but
Hmm.
that's a lot like saying, basketball is non-contact as well, right?
Right.
There's still a lot of bloody noses and teeth get knocked out, some elbows thrown. Minimal contact is technically allowed. A lot of times it depends on the level of play, and if the refs think you can handle it without killing each other and hurting each other, we can get a little more contact, a little more physical. Because let's face facts, when you've got a girl running as hard as she can and she wants to go to goal and score, you have to be able to like body up a little bit and try to deter her from going in. If we let her run past, she's just going to score every time. So it's minimal. We're not really supposed to be displacing each other or shoving anybody to the ground. But it gets out of hand every now and again. Adrenaline rushes and the thrill of the game sometimes, but it's usually pretty well controlled.
I know watching the high school girls game can be well. It's I admire the athletic ability. I mean, those kids get in great shape because they just run 80 yards at a time,
Sure.
right? Nobody can really touch them. But at the same time, it's got to be a little frustrating as a defender,
Oh yeah.
right? To not be able to do anything except just kind of stand there and hope that they can get a stick on a shot or something. But Ella, being from the box lacrosse with your box lacrosse background, you ever get penalized for taking a couple shots now and then?
I'm
Oh
gonna let
yeah.
Ella answer this one.
Well, they changed the rule that any like foul in the midfield is a green card, and I've been getting a lot of green cards.
Not a girl.
I get pushed and I want to push back.
Yeah, that's fair, right?
And some are just blatantly bad calls. I hate to sit here and talk bad about our officials, but the rules are so subjective. Ella does a really nice job, and she's super, super fast. So Ella does a great job of getting in front of the girl carrying the ball, right, to deter her, and then they'll run into Ella, and then suddenly they think Ella just fouled this girl, and she'll end up with a foul. So that happens more often than not. I have her stats. She had 7 green cards all season in 19 games, which is not intolerable by any stretch, and that's just from fierce play. And I'd say the majority of them probably weren't deserved, to be quite honest with you.
So Ella, what were some of the highlights for you during this season?
Highlights. I think the Frostburg game, just as a whole, I think that's kind of when, like, around that time when our team really got our footing and started figuring some things out.
Yeah,
And we,
Frostburg and Bluesburg, that's when it clicked.
yeah, yeah. And then we came back with like a minute and a half left, uh, scored 3 goals to pull out the win.
Notice she says we because Ella's very humble. Ella scored 3 goals in a minute and a half to win that game.
Oh wow, yeah, it's an 18-17 win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was Ella's 3 goals. She's humble and it's we, and she knows it's a team sport. And I love her to death for it, but I want her to make sure she gets her credit. Those were her 3 goals.
absolutely.
Well, that was a really exciting game. I think beating Georgian Court as handily as we did was also really exciting for everyone on our
Yeah.
team.
So that's a 19-9 victory. What was particularly thrilling about that for you? You said you beat them handily. I mean, I'm looking at the next game. You beat Post 23-1. That's beating somebody pretty handily. What's the difference between
There's a little
game?
more history between with Georgian Court.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some green cards accumulated in that Georgian
Well,
court game.
historically, and I'll speak a little bit from before Ella really got there. Georgian Court used to be like the perennial conference champs in our league, and were very very good for a really long time. We beat them for the first time your freshman year, right, Ella?
Yeah.
We beat them by a goal at home, and it was the first time in program history we'd ever beaten them. And everything came close. Most games we lost by 10 goals. And that's just testament to us building the program and these girls putting in the work. And then we did come back and play them last year and didn't beat them again. And then everything just kind of clicked this year. So it's when you see the perennial powerhouses like that and you can kind of handle them fairly handily, that's a good feeling. You kind of know you're on the right track.
They're in New Jersey, right? Georgian Court?
That's correct. Yes, Lakewood, New Jersey.
Yeah, okay. And when you scored your record goal, did your teammates celebrate you in any way? And if so, how did they do so?
Well, in the game, everyone went nuts. Our sideline went crazy. Everyone's just cheering.
Dan announced it over the loudspeaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dan announced it, so all the fans knew. And then after the game, they had a poster for me and like kind of a basket of like gifts.
What was in the basket?
There was like candy.
Nice. Yeah, there has to be candy.
Things. Yeah, and everyone signed a card for me.
Now, do you have the ball?
I still have it. I'm not going to lie. I haven't given it to her yet. I took it and put it in a safe place.
Oh, good.
And usually I take it home and I write on it with a Sharpie and commemorate it. And that's done. I just haven't given it back to her yet. We have our year-end banquet this Friday. She'll get all that Friday.
Okay. Yeah, put it in one of those baseball cases or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very cool. Any other special honor, like awards, souvenirs that you've collected over the years that you're proud of?
I don't really know.
I'll tell you this, Marshall. I'm tired of writing on balls for the kid. she hits so many milestones and breaks so many stinking records. I feel like we've gone through an extra dozen game balls in the past couple of years. It's like we need that ball because Ella just broke another record. So give it to me, and I'll write on it. And I'll give it to her later. And so she's gonna have a bag full of lacrosse balls written on Sharpie with my handwriting on it. But other than that, she may have some more stuff.
I don't really know what else. Every time anyone hits a milestone or breaks a record, our team kind of comes together and makes a poster or does something for them. So I have one of my walls is covered in posters.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And now, how old of a young lady are you?
I'm 20.
And any brothers, sisters, anything like that?
I have 3 brothers.
Did they play lacrosse?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. Now did you say they were older, younger?
I have 2 older and 1 younger.
Okay. And do they push you around in the lacrosse field?
Sometimes.
Yeah. You push them back?
Yeah.
Accumulate like green cards at home?
In the backyard, sometimes we play.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that tells me a lot. That definitely can contribute to somebody's success there when you have a family of players as well.
Absolutely. And your dad used to coach, correct?
Yeah, he still coaches.
Still coaches? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that explains having the stick at 3 years old.
Yeah.
Because it's not a conscious decision at that point. Somebody's got to put the stick in her
That's exactly right. Yeah.
hand, right? Let's see. Talk about at the collegiate level, what kind of training regimen that you have specifically related to nutrition? Because this has changed over the years. I'm kind of curious how it is with you at your level.
I might be the wrong person to ask, but
Our whole team might be the wrong people to ask.
yeah.
We're pretty strict with them about sending them to team lifts. So we have a trainer that works with them, strength and conditioning and things of that nature, and we take care of that on the field. We just kind of try to prescribe good practices and explain to them what good healthy meals are and things like that. We don't.
Meetings.
What's that?
We've had meetings.
That's true. The school did have the meetings, yeah. And actually, my assistant coach is a registered dietitian. That helps a little bit as well.
Oh yeah.
So we try. I like to tell everybody when they go to the grocery store, I like to think that we're like the little angels on their shoulders saying, "Don't buy this, and don't, but make sure you buy this instead." But they're also kids by the same token. So everything in moderation. I'm okay with them living life a little bit.
With the amount of running that you do, you can have a higher carb load, I would imagine, than maybe a
Sure.
football player or something, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have like pasta dinners before games, something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Usually
runners, like long distance
pasta and
runner.
steak.
I'm sorry, I talked over you. What were we saying?
I said usually pasta or like pasta and steak.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. And talk about, you weren't the only person on the team. It's a team effort to get into the CACC tournament. So talk about some of the other players on your team who contributed to success this year.
Aaliyah Jaworowski, I think she had a great year. She's a feeder for our team. She scored a bunch of goals this year too, which was awesome. But she she kind of runs the offense a lot of the time. Like we have cutters sent just so she can hit them. Same with Tristan Holtzworth. She had a great year.
Also a fellow Canadian.
Ah,
Yeah.
I just want to add that she's
what
from the
part
other
of
side of
what
Canada.
what part of Canada was she from?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
What
had
part of Canada was your other teammate from?
Ontario.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I
She
just find it. It's kind of weird. Like I used to see Goldie Beacom get a lot of athletes from Canada and out west. Like, how do they ever come here? Like, I don't even understand
Right.
that
Right.
sometimes. It's kind of interesting that you have. I get how Ella got here, but now you also have another Canadian on there too in
I
our
do.
little
Yeah.
state. So who
Yeah.
else?
Um, Chef, Michaela Cook, she had a great year.
She did.
She, yeah, she really, like, I think she put in a lot of extra work, got so much better, and she was a huge part of our offense this year. Sophie Shive, she was a midfielder for a bit, got moved back to defense, and really stepped up and was a great defender.
As a redshirt freshman. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
who else,
It
Coach?
was
Anyone
really
else you want to add there?
Oh, I got to be honest with you. I could gush over this
well.
today.
Feel free.
And I got to be honest, like the first few games of learning experience, we graduated some really power players last year that were really phenomenal for us, and filling those gaps is always tough. In the first few games of the season, we had some players in different positions, and it took took a couple of rounds of experimentation to get to where we wanted to. So definite shout out to the girls that kind of got their positions moved about 4 games into the season and just took total ownership of it. Sophie Shive being one. We moved Eden Ward from a low
Yeah.
defender up to a midfielder. Caitlin Welker, we moved from a low defender, who's still a low defender, but she actually takes the draw now. We just had a lot of girls out of place. Anastasia Juno, we call her Stas, took ownership of being a low attacker, and we kind of put her as a midfielder. She did a little bit of defensive midi or offensive midi.
Everyone was everywhere.
What's that?
I said everyone was everywhere.
Yeah. Until we finally found that right combination that was working well for us. So and we had two freshman goalies that were just phenomenal this year. And both of them lights out their little brick
I don't know
walls.
how I forgot about them.
Yeah, we graduated a senior goalie. We brought in two freshmen this year because I like having two goalies, and we got in a little bit of a bind a couple years ago. The goalie didn't make it all the way through the program, and so I brought in two freshmen this year, which was a little worrisome, because you're like, are they ready for the college experience? Because it's a different game in college. I always tell everybody it doesn't matter how bad of a college you go to. It's still a different game than the high school level. It's a little faster paced, and the girls are a little better, and they work harder, and it's a little more serious. And these girls stepped it up and played lights out. So shout out to our goalies for being brick walls back there.
Awesome. So, Ella, talk about your coach there. What can you say that's kind of interesting, maybe funny, positive, anything like that you
Be
can,
honest. You can be honest.
I'm always honest.
I know you are.
He coaches. This is like why I even ended up really choosing to come to Wilmington. Was he is like a dad coach. I always say he's like a girl dad. He gets it, but even though he gets it, he's pushing you to be better always, every single day. He's on you about something, telling you to fix this, get better, teaching you. I don't really know what else.
Okay.
And giving a lot of love at the same time.
Yes.
I don't yell and scream. These are my these. I tell everybody, it's funny. My daughters don't play anymore; they're grown up, and my oldest daughter, I was still coaching in high school when she went through the college program, and my younger daughter actually played at Wilmington. And my wife still comes to every game. She travels with us everywhere, and everybody goes, "But why are you still go to every game? You don't have any kids in the program." She goes, "Yeah, we do. We happen to have 24 in there right now. These aren't kids. You know what I mean? They become your family. You spend so much time with them." And it just and that's how we always treated them. I always said I always wanted to treat my players the same way I would want somebody to treat my kids, if not better, because I'm okay yelling at my kids every now and again, but that's just the game has done so much for me over the years, and the last thing I want to do is ruin it for them. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're out there for wins. That's the intent of playing games and competing, right? But certainly at no one's expense. And I'd like to think that the majority of girls leave our program and still have that love for the game and aren't burned out. Going to coach or going to play at a different level or masters leagues or whatever it is they do. But that's really important that we maintain that family atmosphere, and that's why Ella's so big on talking about everything being a team win, and she doesn't want to take all the credit because that's kind of how we roll. It's one big family.
And one other question for you, Ella. Do you speak French?
No, I don't. I took French classes in like grade 6. That was it.
It's very interesting. So my wife and I we took French in high school, just a quick story. And when we met like 6 years ago, started learning French. And then last year, I went up to go do a show in north of Toronto. And I was all excited because I get to use my French. And they don't speak French there either. And then I must have looked like an absolute foreigner, because I was, though. I'm trying to speak French to people in all these stores, and I would do whatever I could.
And they have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, they didn't understand what I was saying.
You gotta go to like Quebec.
Right.
They speak French.
Yeah, they make you do it there, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you two, thank you very much for taking time to visit the show here today. Congratulations on your season. Ella, congratulations on your honors and your new Division II women's lacrosse goal scoring record for 122 goals in a single season. That's amazing. And then, look, you've improved from your freshman year to sophomore year to junior year. You're going to have work cut out for you to improve on that, I guess, next year, right? Right? You're
Yeah.
You're going to have more shadows, I would imagine, next year.
I'm pretty sure.
On you, right?
We practice for that.
Yeah, yes, you have to, right? What do you
Exactly.
do, like double teamer, triple teamer in practice?
No, we'll put we rotated through a couple of our fastest defenders this year and just had them because I'm not a big face guarder when we actually play. It's just a coaching philosophy I'm not real big on because my theory is it takes one of your best defenders out of Team D, and we practice Team D so much I don't want to disrupt that. But we'll rotate through and pick a couple of our. And actually, it was 2 freshmen this year that did a really good job trying to shut Ella down in practice, and we rotated through them because she just exhausted them. They take turns doing it for about 5 or 10 minutes, and they're just spent, and Ella's just going like a robot. She's tireless.
Collecting practice green cards.
Yeah, right.
All right, you two. Wave goodbye to our growing fan base here at Delaware Sports and American Sports Reports. I'm going to end meeting for all. Best of luck to you. Nice to meet you virtually as it was, and hopefully we'll get to meet again.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Take care. Enjoy your summer. So that was Kevin Day, the head coach of the Wilmington women's lacrosse team, and Ella Royer, Player of the Year in the CACC, a record-setting 122 goals this year, Division II NCAA record. If you would like to coordinate an interview here on the show, just reach out to me at mysportsreports@gmail.com. You don't have to be a record setter. Just like to talk to people, get to know some of the personalities behind the names in the box scores. And now, I'm getting over a cold. My throat's kind of beat up now. So that's going to be it here from Delaware Sports and American Sports Reports. The trombone's going to take us out. Please support the show by liking, sharing, and subscribing on whatever video platform you find these videos. Now, I am gone. Yes. dinner time.